What are they doing in Iran? The internet and phone service over there is still blacked out, but according to reports from activists, all right, AP News, death tolls over 500. I have no idea if that's accurate. We're getting that from the Human Rights Activist News Agency, but, you know, there's a reason it's US-based. We'll see if that actually ends up being accurate. That being said, obviously it's the Iranian government, so the idea that they would execute a bunch of protesters is totally, like, you know, it's not exactly out of, not out of their wheelhouse. Do you not believe the protests are legitimate? No. The protests are 100% legitimate. I just don't trust, like, US-based reporting on Iran in the fog of war. That's all. Yeah, imagine living in a country where the government executes protesters. It's fucked up. Are they killing Kurds again? No, just protesters. Like, I'm sure maybe some of them are Kurdish, but, you know, protesters. Iran is looking at freedom perhaps like never before. The USA stands ready to help. So fucking ominous. It's so ominous, dude. Look at this. Iranian protests are growing. Israel is watching closely. So fucking evil. They're watching. Iran is the ultimate nothing ever happens final boss. That's because Iran's government is relatively, how do you put it? Relatively sane. Like, Iran, it's kind of like the madman theory with North Korea. Like, they seem crazy from the outside, but they actually deliberately do what they do in an effort to keep people's hands off them, and having nukes really does help. With Iran, like, they tend to moderate their behavior in an effort to avoid a situation where the US has no choice but to, like, annihilate them, basically. That's the reason why when Iran did those big strikes on Israel, it was basically nothing. They just fired a bunch of, like, they fired some cruise missiles that were easily intercepted, a bunch of drones that were easily intercepted. Iran does have more to fire than that. It's just they don't want to prompt, like, a really, like, committed response. Though in the world today, who the fuck knows whether or not that's...
Widespread unrest, killings and arrests in Iran during protests sparked by a collapse in the local currency. The leadership says it will listen to demonstrators, but rioters face the death penalty as the US warns against the crackdown. How volatile is the situation? This is Inside Story. Hello again, I'm James Bays. 2 weeks of widespread demonstrations have shaken Iran, with reports of hundreds killed, both anti-government protesters and security forces. The scale of the unrest has been driven by a collapse in the local currency. Making ends meet has become an even bigger struggle for more and more people in a country already under pressure from international...
I'd like to know more about why the currency collapsed as quickly as it did. Like, what... we're talking like a unbelievable inflation spike in very little time, less than a year. I don't know what exactly caused that.
National sanctions. While the Iranian president has promised to listen to protesters, the Attorney General has warned those involved in the violence could face execution. The US President Donald Trump has threatened military strikes if civilians are killed, with Iran warning it will hit back if attacked. So how volatile is the situation? Can Iran's leadership contain the wave of protests? And are there wider consequences if instability in Iran worsens? We'll talk to our panel of guests in a moment, but first this report from Alexandra Byers.
Defiance burning bright across Iran. 2 weeks of demonstrations against soaring inflation.
Apparently, Iran is claiming over 100 of their officers have been killed. That can't be right. There's no way. 100 officers killed in a country where the officers have guns and are totally comfortable using them on protesters. That can't be right. I genuinely think Iran is lying here. They have to be puffing these numbers up to make it seem like the protests are more violent than they actually are. 100? That's crazy. Yeah, the source is state media. It's impossible to verify anything in there right now because the internet and the phone lines are down.
Inflation and a plunging currency have spiraled into the worst unrest the country has seen in 3 years. Anti-government protests began in the capital and spread to dozens of other towns and cities, including Qom, Iran's second holiest city, and Mashhad, the birthplace of the supreme leader. A crackdown by security forces followed. Most internet and telecommunications services have been cut since Thursday. The Attorney General is warning anyone involved in the protests could face the death penalty. Dozens of civilians and
I think I've been a little bit too negative about American and Israeli control over Iran. If 50 years of repressive Islamic rule hasn't done much to budge the Iranian population, I really don't think there's anything America or Israel can do. There are a lot of Iranians, you know? Even if whatever government replaces the current one ends up being a stooge of the United States, I don't really think it would sway the hearts of the Iranian people that much. It would end up, it would turn into a, you know, it would be like a, considered an illegitimate government by the people almost immediately.
Security officials have reportedly been killed. Rights groups say more than 2,500 people have been arrested. Iran's supreme leader accuses them of acting on behalf of the U.S. president.
He claims to be on the side of the Iranian people. He is irresponsible. He does not care about civilians. Those protesters could believe him. They burn waste bins just to please him.
Donald Trump has repeatedly threatened to intervene and warned Tehran not to use force against demonstrators, or the U.S. will hit Iran where it hurts. The government says it will strike Israel and American bases in the region if the U.S. attacks. The defiance shown at rallies, despite threats of severe consequences, reflects the extent of the discontent. According to one Iranian...
We're going to intervene. We're going to globalize American policy. We're going to fly our bombers over there and murk these fucking protesters. Don't worry, we'll help you guys out.
Academic.
Demonstrations were held because of the worsening of the economic situation in the country, and it's understandable majority of Iranians were frustrated with the worsening of their economics, but with the events turning into more sort of violent developments, demonstrations started shrinking by the day. So Thursday was really one of the scariest days in Iran, including in Tehran, but the past 2 days, we saw the shrinking of those events.
Makes sense, though things aren't going to change if they're not able to stabilize their currency. Like, if people can't afford food, that's pretty much that, you know?
Some in the crowds have been chanting, "Down with the dictator, long live the Shah," referring to Muhammad.
Okay. All right. I'm sure some people have said that. Like how there were some Cubans saying they wanted American, you know, the second Bay of Pigs to liberate them from the government. I don't think that's the popular sentiment.
Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, the pro-Western leader, toppled in the 1979 revolution. His exiled son has been encouraging the protesters from the U.S., though it's unclear whether he has significant support.
The world today stands with your national revolution and admires your courage. Do not abandon the streets. My heart is with you. I know that I will soon be by your side.
The unrest comes 7 months after Israel and the U.S. attacked Iran, which some believe had a unifying effect, helping the government. But Iran's leadership now faces more serious pressure, this time from within. Alexandra Byers, Al Jazeera, for Inside Story.
Well, let's try and...
It's a fairly popular sentiment in Persian cities. I'm sure it's a popular sentiment with, like, fucking the diaspora, you know? Probably not so much, the internet's favorite down jackets ranked. The Iron Snail, You'll Never Let Me Down.
For days now, we've been hearing reports, unverifiable given Iran's internet shutdown, that hundreds of protesters have been killed in an escalating crackdown.
Protests are growing in Tehran, and you know what that means? Yeah, trouble.
Now, what seems to be the first tangible evidence. A video that we're told was physically smuggled out of the country after it was shot on Friday, outside a morgue on the southern outskirts of Tehran. The morgue already so full, families left having to identify loved ones in the open. Some families, we're told, instructed to pay to have bodies returned. Others warned against public funerals. We've spoken to an Iranian activist and doctor based in Vienna, who himself has been in touch with his colleagues in the country.
Sadly, the severity of the injuries suggests that police and security forces deliberately targeted the protesters with intent to kill.
Yeah?
The shootings were direct, aimed at the head, neck and chest. According to our colleagues, as well as videos and audio files sent to us, most of the injured suffered wounds to the head and neck.
The killings reportedly extending far beyond Tehran, just as the protests have. 70 people said to have been killed here in northern Rasht. And from
I
southern...
don't know, Shah seems more stable as a pick than factionalism between a potential Stalin II or an Iranian Sunni Taliban. I mean, the people of Iran, if given the choice, would probably choose a secular democracy. But no, if America or Israel essentially controls Iran through a Shah, it's going to form ISIS II. It's going to form ISIS III. They're going to skip II. Arguably, ISIS II was already a thing. If you want regional stability, I promise you that Iran being controlled by a Western puppet is not good. Doesn't the Crown Prince literally live in Washington, D.C.?
Shiraz, an audio message from a hospital doctor whose voice we've disguised.
Guys, we cannot make any calls. Please contact the TV channels and tell them we desperately need surgeons, neurosurgeons, orthopedists, ophthalmologists. We cannot call them. There are 20 patients here and we can do nothing. They've all been shot in the head.
But last night, across the country, protesters again filled the streets. A U.S. intelligence official describing it to the Reuters news agency as an enduring... I
mean, Israel wants nothing but failed states around them. Libya, Iraq, Syria, Lebanon. Yeah, that's true. Well, they want to conquer them. Israel doesn't really have a coherent Middle Eastern, like foreign policy, basically, because their foreign policy is we want to conquer Greater Israel and always have a free range of Arabs nearby to kill. It's literally, like, that's what... There's no, like, doctrine of stability or peace for the Middle East. They just want their territory, and they always want to be able to war and kill, like, outside of it. It's legitimately, like, the most monstrous possible approach to foreign policy. I don't know if any country on Earth has something as bad as that. Like, even Russia, I think, moderates their behavior more than Israel does when it comes to, like, their long-term goals or plans. At least in rhetoric.
Game between protesters trying to keep up the pressure and authorities trying to clear the streets through fear. Just over a week ago, Iran's president said rather than resort to blaming America, the protesters' real concerns should be addressed. Today, a different message.
The US and Israel intended in their 12-day war to disrupt our society and bring division among us. Even now, they're trying to escalate this unrest with regard to the economic discussions and solutions we're working on.
And he appeared to acknowledge killings by security forces.
Sadly, for some families, there have been things that have happened that have been regrettable. And to all those families, I give my condolences.
As the death toll mounts, Donald Trump left with a decision of whether to follow through with his threat to strike Iran to protect protesters. Overnight, posting on his Truth Social platform, Iran is looking at freedom, perhaps like never before. The USA stands ready to help. It was June last year when he sent bombers to attack Iranian nuclear targets, ending what he called the 12-day war between Israel and Iran. The Wall Street Journal today reporting the president will be briefed on specific strike options on Tuesday. This morning, the Speaker of Iran's parliament warned the United States against any such action, saying Israel and US bases and ships would all be legitimate targets for the Islamic Republic. Iran state television broadcasting footage of an apparent counter-demonstration in western Kermanshah today, where last week authorities say a 3-year-old girl was killed in riots. State-affiliated media say more than 100 security forces members have been killed in the protests so far. Those protests...
Watch this and the prospect of U.S. intervention. I don't like watching other YouTubers like, oh shit, that's chat. What's up, chat? Wrong link. I don't like watching other YouTubers give their take on that's why you need a second monitor on like geopolitics stuff, because I'm already the YouTuber giving the take on geopolitics stuff. So this is basically like a human centipede dynamic, right? Like I eat the food and then I poop into your mouths, but now I'm like eating the poop and you're getting double poop.
The people of Iran are not happy. The president of the United States is threatening military action. and the possibility is real enough that he is now getting briefed on the subject. Will 2026 ever give us a chance to breathe?
No.
We're in Iran, some upset because of the regime's ideology. However, we should enjoy a bit of a geography lesson. Caracas is here, right up against the Caribbean. Venezuela's navy is a joke, and that a controlled operation like what happened in Venezuela will not happen in Iran in the immediate protesters. Is there anything that the United States can do to help? Well, at least for the moment, there is a good argument that
I don't think this is AI voice, guys. I just think he sounds like that.
Doing close to nothing is the correct call. The key to a successful revolution on the streets is for protesters to vastly outnumber security forces. This is a bar that is generally hard to clear, because the protesters have to coordinate a time and location. Someone who goes by themselves...
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to get much from this, to be honest. Whatever. All the same, like, you know, God bless the protesters. I hope they're able to hold out. I don't know if America would intervene over this. You know, Trump talks a lot. It's kind of difficult to assess how seriously you should take him in any, you know, any given case. I don't really know. It doesn't seem like nobody's lined up to build democracy in Iran, you know? There's no foreign democratic option. The Shah is a crown prince, and, you know, Khamenei is the current government is, you know, radical Islamists. I don't know, like, what the nice path forward is. Would you support intervention without direct U.S. control over the government? Nah, I don't think so. There's a narrative loss there too. The people of Iran need to be able to... Look, the only reason Iran is still an Islamic theocracy is because of us. Not just because we put the Shah in, but by sanctioning Iran and turning the world against them, we have reaffirmed all the narratives that the Ayatollah has expressed as a legitimization of the Islamic rule of Iran. Like, we give them so much material for that. Is America the great Satan? Obviously. Do we turn the world against them? Yes, we objectively do. Do we sanction them? Do we cut off their economic ties? Like, we have created a global order that has ostracized Iran. Iran is no more evil than dozens of governments that we work with and treat normally, you know? There are plenty of authoritarian... You can look at India, you can look at Pakistan, you can look at fucking Indonesia. There are tons of guys... We're friends with Saudi Arabia, man. Like... We have deliberately set Iran on this path to punish them for refusing to be owned by us when the Islamic Revolution took place, when they threw off the Shah. Iranian reformist movements essentially died the day you guys voted in Trump. Yeah, it's not... I mean, it's not like, you know, it's not like Democratic presidents have been that much better, right? Obama did work. Biden barely even tried. It's unfortunate. Man, Biden was so fucking cucked to Israel. So fucking disappointing.